And we're live. So, and we're recording. So Bill, you can call the meeting to order.
All right, let's call to order the Basalt Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, April 21, 2020 at 6:01 p.m.
Okay, I'll take the roll. Bill Marin,
Yo.
Joan Keefe.
You're
Joan,
on mute.
oh,
Here.
Gino Rossetti,
Here.
Probably
Eric
nowhere.
Volzek,
Here.
Tracy Bennett,
Here.
Bernie Grauer,
Here.
Rob Levitt,
Here.
and we have a quorum.
Alrighty, let us approve minutes. We have 3 of them. The first one is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. Does anyone have any changes or additions to the record?
I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a first. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have first, we have a second. All in favor? Remember, we're gonna do this by roll call vote, so Susan, do the roll call.
Bill Marin,
Yes.
Joan Keefe,
Yes.
Gino Rossetti,
Yes.
Eric Volzek,
Yes.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Aye.
Rob Levitt.
Yes.
Minutes passed.
Alrighty, Tuesday, March 12th, 2020. Does anyone have any changes to the record or additions to make?
I move approval.
We have a first. Do we have a
Second.
second? We have a first, we have a second. Let's have a roll call vote, Susan.
Bill Marin,
Yes.
Joan Keefe,
Yes.
Gino Rossetti,
Yes.
Eric Volzek,
Yep.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Aye.
Rob Levitt.
Yes.
The minutes passed.
Alrighty, we have one more. Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. Does anyone have any changes to the record or additions to make? No? Alrighty, do we have a first?
Motion.
A
We have a
second.
We have first, we have a second.
Who was the second?
Gino,
Gino.
Gino? Okay, thanks. I was looking down. Go ahead.
roll call vote, please.
Bill Marin,
Yes.
Joan Keefe,
Yes.
Gino Rossetti,
Yes.
Eric Volzek,
Yes.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Aye.
Rob Levitt.
Yes.
The motion passed. And before we start the next items, I would want to just mention a couple things. One is that this meeting's being filmed by Grassroots, and so members of the public may be watching the meeting, and they can participate by contacting us during the public hearing or after the second one isn't a public hearing, but it's an item, and we will call them and allow them to speak. There's 2 ways that members of the public can contact us. They can email planning@basalt.net, or they can text 970-379-1514, and in both cases, put your name and your phone number, and we'll place a call to you. So that's how the public will provide input at the appropriate time in the agenda.
And Susan, let's note that that is only when the public hearing portion of the meeting is called, and that after it's ended, there is no public input.
Correct.
Alrighty, so are we ready to move on? All right. Let's start the public hearing for the Classen application. James?
Yes, thank you. Let me share my screen here.
Is Since he didn't read the title, go ahead and say the whole thing.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is, okay, great. This is a public hearing and special review application for an ADU submitted by Norm and Laura Clayson for the property located at 112 East Hillside Drive. It's on the corner of Hillside Drive and Spur Lane. As you can see, here's the property. Here is Spur Lane, and here is Hillside Drive, and it's 112 East Hillside. As background, the applicant purchased the property in 2004 and applied to legalize the accessory dwelling unit, which is on the first floor of the site. And they applied in 2004 to do that and received approval. The applicants were required to file a site plan for the project, and it was required pursuant to ordinance number 11, 2004, but the applicant did not do so. And then the neighbor to the property filed a complaint in 2018 about the accessory dwelling unit not being legal. And staff checked into it and found that the site plan, as well as the deed restriction, had not been filed or recorded. And therefore, the language in the ordinance number 11, 2004 that's in your packet nullified the approval since the site plan was not recorded. Let me see if I can go to the next page here. As you can see in this excerpt from ordinance number 11, 2004, item number 1 nullified the approval because the site plan was not recorded. Additionally, the neighbor that filed the complaint had a representative that expressed that the site was not large enough for an ADU. And so staff investigated, and based on a technicality, it was determined by the town attorney that a quiet title action was necessary to incorporate some of the land area that's shown as parcel B into the property to get it above the 8,000 square foot minimum size that's required for an ADU. So the applicants then went through a quiet title action, and the court added the portion of the property that's shown as parcel B to the property, which brought it above the 8,000 square foot minimum lot area that's necessary for an ADU. So that being the case, the applicant renewed their application for the special review. The property, as I indicated, is on the corner of Hillside and Spur Lane. The applicants now have about 9,900 square feet of property after they went through the quiet title. And so that's parcel A and parcel B together.
So, someone has a mic that's on, if they could mute it, it would be great.
Okay. The property is zoned R3TN. The first floor unit is an ADU, and the second floor unit is the main residence. And as you can see on the next slide, which is a picture of the property, the applicant has expanded the off-street parking area to provide for 5 off-street parking spaces, and you can see it where my cursor is. It's a combination of asphalt and gravel space. In reviewing the application, staff identified several discussion items in terms of consistency with the master plan. The new 2020 master plan has objectives that promote accessory dwelling units to be integrated into the neighborhood, and staff believes that this application is consistent with that goal. Other goals include consistency with the neighborhood character. It is two small existing units that comply with the R3TN regulations, so staff believes that it's consistent with the neighborhood character. In looking at the parking scenario, which was one of the neighbors' concerns and main issues with the ADU in filing their complaint in 2018. As I noted, the applicant subsequently expanded the parking to 5 off-street parking spaces. And I'll go back to the site plan here to show that. Here is Hillside Drive, here is Spur Lane, and here are the 5 off-street parking spaces. There is an easement for streets and ditches that the parking sits on. It's a 10-foot wide easement. There are some similar easements elsewhere in the Hill District, and such easements have been allowed to be used for parking. In terms of deed restrictions, the applicant is proposing to deed restrict the property in compliance with the R3TN zone district, so that the deed restriction requires that one of the units must be occupied by a resident as their primary residence, which is the R3TN code language. There's also a tree that's located in this area. The fire district, in reviewing the application, provided referral comments requiring that the applicant limb up the tree to 13 foot 6 inches above the road grade, and that's been reinforced as a draft condition of approval. So in total, staff recommends taking applicant comments, taking public comments, and then providing P&Z discussion, and staff would recommend approval with the conditions that are included. We have Norm and Laura Clayson and Kelsey Nichols representing the applicant group. And I will unshare my screen here.
Okay, well, let's move right to the applicant and have them make their presentation to us. And then after we do that, then we will have an opportunity for the commissioners to ask either staff or the applicant their questions. So please,
Well,
Laura.
James has covered it quite thoroughly. I guess I just want to touch some highlights, which, you know, when we bought the property, this illegal ADU was already there. We started out right away to make it legal. And both the town of Basalt and us have been under the assumption that it was legal for 15 years. We have been paying 2 water and sewer taps all this time. So, you know, once again, we are now going through it again because we've always just wanted to do the right thing. We've never done this, you know, to not comply. And so, so that's, you know, that's basically the history on that. And as I said, we've been paying all the taps, and I think that's about it. I think.
Yeah, we expanded the parking last fall. Now it accommodates 5 vehicles very comfortably.
And we talked with the James and the fire chief, assistant fire chief Brooke today, because at first the thought of trimming that tree up 13.5 feet, it would have looked like a stick with a paintbrush on top. And I think we've all understood that now, as long as it's trimmed over the street and the trucks can get in safely,
Fire trucks.
the fire trucks, that they shouldn't have any issues with that. And we're going to hopefully get together with Brooke and go over that and make sure that that's done. So everything's basically been complied with, and here we are.
I just want to add, so much of this application has just been going back and kind of correcting things that were not all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted historically. And as part of that process, we worked pretty closely with the town of Basalt and with Jeff Conklin. The Claysons do now have a quiet title order that is binding on the town of Basalt, and the court held that the Claysons do have title to that parcel B. And that quiet title action was also provided to anyone else in the neighborhood who wanted to join and file a claim. No one did file a claim to that parcel B, and so the court has now held that the Claysons own the entire lot. So some of the issues that existed before have now been cleaned up, and we agree with James that the application should be approved.
Oh, and just one more thing. We've always leased this out, and it's almost always been employees and people who live here. And right now, upstairs is a couple, and she works at the hospital, and he's a property manager. And the downstairs tenant is a man who's had his own construction company in the valley for 20 years. So it's definitely employee housing.
All righty, is that your full statement at this time?
I think so, unless anyone has any questions for us, yes.
We'll go through and we will ask Commissioner questions. I'll run down my list and I'll just do it in order that it appears on my screen to make it simple. So first I will ask Joan, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
Did you ask me?
You're muted.
I'm sorry, did you ask me, Bill?
No, don't. I'm gonna.
No, I have no questions.
All right, thank you. Tracy, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
No,
Gino, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
Yes, I might be a little slow on the uptake, but I didn't quite understand who is going to own and live in the upstairs per code.
well, right now, we have tenants who live there, and both of them are employed locally, and it's their permanent residence.
Okay, James, then for you, does that satisfy the letter of the law or the intent of it, that this is his permanent home?
Yes, the requirement in the R3TN zone district for an ADU property is that one of the two units be occupied by a permanent resident as their primary residence.
Primary resident?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Eric, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff? You're muted. There you go.
I gotcha. Just a quick one, maybe more for staff, not knowing where the communications. Has the neighbor been satisfied that you are aware of?
You know, the neighbor hasn't provided any more comments after the quiet title action was completed. So I can't say for sure, but he received public notice and hasn't provided any more comments.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Rob, do you have any questions of staff or the applicant?
No, just two quickies for staff. I noticed the parkland dedication fee was waived. I'm just curious what that fee would have been.
It would have been in the realm of $9,000, but through the R3TN zone district code language, if the property owner puts a deed restriction on the property, then it's automatically waived.
Yeah, it's just for my own education.
Sure.
And the second question is, have these units been inspected by building and fire, or do they need to be?
They originally received building permits. They haven't been newly inspected. We could require that if P&Z is interested in that requirement, but the building official.
I know that when we made Airbnbs, short-term rentals legal, we required a fire inspection.
Yes.
And so I just didn't know if with the ADU, we needed to do the same.
I think that would be a good suggestion to include in your motion, actually, because they don't need a building permit now. Normally, when we're approving this, you need a building permit, and it goes through all of that, but this one doesn't, so that would be a good addition.
So that's smoke detectors, CO2, egress.
And if you add that to the motion, staff would probably suggest that you refer to the same safety inspection that the short-term rentals go through.
So noted, thanks.
All right, Robert, you're done. Okay, Bernie, make sure you unmute. There you go.
Yeah. Now my questions, between the presentation and the questions that other commissioners asked have been answered. I have no new questions.
All right, thank you. I have a couple questions. This is directed at staff. Was the 04 ADU application full and complete other than filing the plats?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so it was, as far as the regulations at the time, it met all of them and was accepted by P&Z.
Except for the plat and the fact that the lot was too small due to a technicality.
Okay, all right. And also, I was looking at the sightline triangles diagram, and does that really apply? Because the Spur Lane portion and the western portion of Hillside Drive are not contiguous, like it says on the triangle diagram.
You know, it would probably apply. The applicant added the parking spaces away from the site triangle. So the parking spaces that existed previously in 2004 were probably partially in the site triangle, but then the newly added parking spaces were pushed out.
Okay, those are my only questions. Does anybody have any further questions to ask of staff or the applicant?
No.
No.
No? Okay, let us open up the public hearing portion of the meeting at 6:23 p.m.
And just a reminder, if anybody's watching Grassroots, there is a delay in what people at home see on their TV and live action, so we're waiting at least a minute and a half for comments. You can email planning@basalt.net or text 970-379-1514 and put your name and phone number, and we'll give you a call.
So Susan, could you please time that for me? Because it's on your end where that is happening. So yes, thank you. Let me know when that time has elapsed.
Okay. I was gonna have a little extra time because I started it early, but, I started it when you were talking. I think we've done. Yeah, let me check my email. I don't have an email. And let me check my text. And I have nothing. I have nothing except, yeah, I have nothing here.
All right, well, if we have nothing, let's close the public hearing component of the meeting at 6:25 p.m. And let's move on to commissioner comments. And I'll do that in the same order we did it previously. So, Joni, do you have anything to add as a comment on this application?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Gino, do you have a comment to make about this?
No, I'm very comfortable with this.
Alrighty. Eric, do you have a comment to make? No? Rob, you have a comment?
No.
Okay. Bernie, do you have a comment? Righty. Tracy, do you have a comment to make?
Nope.
Alrighty. Neither do I. We've already been through this once before for those of you who have been here that long. And so let us move on to a motion. Rob, do you want to make the motion because you have an addition to make?
Sure, let's motion to approve with the addition that the unit has the same inspections that we give short-term rentals.
Alrighty, thank you.
In terms
Do we
of the
have a second?
inspection.
I'll second it.
All right, we have who second? Gino.
I'll
Okay, we
second
have a
it.
first, we have a second.
Yes.
All in favor, let's do a roll call vote.
Bill Marin,
Yes.
Joan Keefe,
Yes.
Gino Rossetti,
Yes.
Eric Volzek,
Yes.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Aye.
Rob Levitt,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Make sure you file your plat.
I mean, I can't tell you what happened 15 years ago, but I can't imagine we went through all of that just not to file it, so.
Something happened.
Something happened. No,
It doesn't matter. We'll file it now.
we will
it now.
file it now.
Thank you.
We have Kelsey to do that for us.
Yes, it'll be on my calendar 3 times.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Stay healthy.
It's better than marijuana.
Yeah.
That was Gino.
More popular anyway. Well, maybe not. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you. All right, next item, Pitkin County referral, 165 Hoagland Ranch Four Seasons Yard rezoning.
And just a note, we're calling the applicant.
So we have a quick delay here.
Hello, this is Luke.
Hey Luke, this is Susan Phelp. I'm the planning director and acting as the clerk for this Zoom meeting. And so you are now part of the
Hey,
meeting.
Susan.
Hi, and James is gonna go ahead. We're doing a test on the sound. Does it sound okay? Okay.
Okay.
So, James is gonna start. We haven't done anything yet. James is gonna, give a start with a presentation, and, you'll be, if you could put your, just be on mute, because we've been getting some feedback, and then after James gives his presentation, we'll call on you, okay?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay.
In just a quick second here, I'm going to share my screen.
If this sounds like overmodulated, then that's what we get, so we wanna have a nice clean.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get it in the right spot here. Okay, great. So this item is a referral from Pitkin County on a development review application that is proposing a farm-to-bottle distillery on the property at 165 Hoagland Ranch Road, which is located right here. The property is located on the north side of Highway 82, and it's down near the pedestrian bridge over Highway 82. The pedestrian bridge is down here. It's in the Holland Hills, Pitkin County Basalt Junction area. And the property was most recently used as Four Seasons Landscaping Contractor's Yard. The property is 8 acres, and it's in the 3-mile planning area, but outside the town's urban growth boundary. The application, as noted, is a farm-to-bottle distillery. It's proposed as a portion of the property located right here, being ag use. And then the other portion, as you can see over here, has the distillery portion of the property, as well as bottling, and then some storage space, warehouse space. And then there are 2 caretaker's units of about 1,000 square feet that are on the property. The applicant is proposing for the site to be gated, and that the public's not permitted on the site, except for an occasional informational tour. And it's not proposed to have a tasting room as part of the application. Staff has a draft letter that's in your packet, and let me go to that. The draft letter for P&Z to consider in item number 1 identifies that we have a new master plan for the town, the 2020 master plan. It indicates that there are interim guidelines in the new master plan that the town is to base the referral comments on for this area. The comment number 1 also indicates that the proposed use may be compatible with the area if it operates as is identified in the application and has limited impact. This comment further identifies that the proposal does not increase the potential for pedestrians crossing Highway 82 here and does not compete with retail uses in Basalt, as it's not a retail establishment that's proposed. Comment number 2 in the draft letter includes discussion about traffic generation. The prior approval from Picken County on the site includes a limit on vehicles used or maintained on the site as the contractor yard use. But the comment further suggests that Picken County gets more information and a better understanding about the actual proposed daily trips to be generated from the site to ensure that it's not going to be a traffic generator above and beyond the current use of the site. Item number 3 in the proposed letter encourages Picken County to require representation drawings of the proposed architecture to ensure that it fits into the character of the area. The applicant is proposing to basically rebuild buildings in the current footprints, which is a requirement of the zoning for the property in Picken County. And then comment number 4 identifies and recommends that the county consult with CDOT to determine whether an access permit is required. This is a standard comment that the town has made for quite some time on applications in this area of the Basalt Junction area. And then finally, comment number 5 recommends that the county include conditions requiring the applicant to comply with the representations that they have in the application to kind of keep the use impacts down and kind of prevent it from becoming a gathering place given the traffic issues in the area. And then number 6 in the comments recommends that Picken County require a high level of green building and energy efficiency as well as install renewable energy facilities and incorporate energy efficiency techniques in the site operations. So those are kind of a brief rundown of the comments that are in the draft letter. The options for P&Z are to direct staff to transmit the letter as drafted, or you could direct staff to amend the letter and provide direction on such amendments and then transmit the letter. As we indicated, we do have the applicant here. We've got Luke, who represents the applicant group, is on the phone with us. Luke, do you have any comments you'd like to make on the application?
Sure. I'll keep it brief. Thank you, everyone. My name is Luke Bamberger, and I'm an architect out of Denver at Anderson Mason Dale Architects. We're a 60 or so person firm that's been working out of the Denver area and Rocky Mountain West for the last 50 or so years. We're familiar with your neck of the woods. We're just finishing up a project up at the Spring Valley campus of Colorado Mountain College. We're working on the renovating the student center. We did the wellness center there and the Ascent Center as well. So definitely know the area. I'm pretty much Colorado native and spent a lot of time up that way, up in Leadville, and have a lot of respect for the Roaring Fork Valley. Yeah, I'll just mention that Matt Patel, he's the kind of the owner and the driving force behind the Emma Fields distillery, and he has a lot of passion and excitement for this project, and he loves the valley too. He's gonna be making it his home here, him and his wife, once his kids are all out of college. But yeah, I think we share the same goals that all of you do. We know that this is a very visible and it's a beautiful piece of land. It serves as a gateway into Basalt if you're coming down valley from Aspen. So we know we have high aspirations for the site as well, and we definitely respect our presence in the valley, and it'll say a lot for the valley and for the brand. So we want to do right and make it a beautiful place. As in terms of what we're going to bring forward to the Pitkin County Planning and Zoning, the items that you've outlined are all things on our list to discuss. We're going to address the traffic on the site, and it's at this stage of planning, it's definitely well below anything that has historically happened on that site. Matt is anticipating when the distillery is up and running to have it staffed by 2.5 full-time people, two distillery workers, and then a part-time admin person. So that's the business model in the near term. And if things go well and improve, he might double the number of staff. But he definitely, he wants to minimize the traffic coming in and out. He's planning on scheduling deliveries for the distillery, maybe twice per month, 3 times per month, and also pickups of product and that type of thing. As you mentioned, it is going to be closed to the public. Occasionally they might provide some private tours of the distillery facility, but it's not going to be a tasting room. It's going to be very limited to just the folks that work there. They are thinking about probably 2 caretakers cabins, one or 2 for the folks that work there, and potentially for someone that's visiting, an investor or something that's coming for the weekend, something like that. But yeah, in terms of the architecture, we're really excited. We're envisioning sort of agricultural style buildings that utilize the materials that are present in the valley: wood, weathered steel, things like that. So it's kind of holding to the agrarian roots, thinking of maybe a contemporary envisioning of that type of architecture. Nothing big, ostentatious, anything like that. I think it's going to be really nice. We're going to kind of the northwest half of the property, we're going to restore and plant with winter wheat, which is the main product that Matt will be using for distilling. Ideally he would be able to harvest that and actually put it into his product, but there's really not realistically enough land to cover all of his needs. It's more about telling the story and really focusing on the agrarian roots of the valley and how it's farm to bottle process that he's really embracing. In terms of sustainability, he has really high sustainability goals. We're going to be pursuing LEED certification, probably silver at a minimum. He's looking at CO2 cogeneration, so he's hoping to capture the CO2 from the distilling process and selling that off if he can. He's probably looking at some interesting stormwater approaches on the site and some geo exchange types of things to heat and cool the building and the distillery. So definitely lots of sustainability goals, and that's one of his main priorities as well. So Yeah, I think we're excited for the project. We're really hoping it'll become a great part of the valley and part of the community there. And looking forward to working with you guys going forward.
Righty, thank you for the applicant's presentation. Let's go through the questions. If the commissioners have any, I'll go in the same order we've gone before. Joan, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff on this item? You're muted.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Is this property zone residential and commercial, the 8 acres?
The property is currently zoned in Pickens County, what's called an unclassified zoning. So there's a site-specific approval on the site for the landscaping yard, and so that's what the specific approval is for, just a landscaping yard. And there.
Okay, so once the master plan and everything, at some point, this is going to become a determined zoning because it is mixed with residential and commercial, is that right?
What they've done is they've requested a special use review, and so basically that locks in a specific use for the site similar to a PUD in the town.
Okay. I'm curious, is this part of another local distillery in the area?
Luke,
No, it's not. No, it's a new one, ground up. Matt's kind of a closet chemist and entrepreneur, and he's also an emergency room physician, among other things, including a civil engineer. He's a man of many talents, and this is one of his passions that he's pursuing.
Okay. I know that they have farm to bottle festivals, but this property here, being where it is, it wouldn't be open to tastings or festivals of that nature. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. No, we wouldn't open it to the public. I think Matt's ultimate goal is to open a tasting room in one of the adjacent towns, so maybe in Basalt or up in Aspen. So he wants to keep this as just the manufacturing facility.
In the back winter wheat area, that's a big chunk of land just for a show and tell the story. Are there other intentions for that land?
No, that's really, he wants to keep that open, pristine. We want to maintain the existing development patterns on the site, so that's all open space now, and that's how we envision it in the future. We definitely want to improve the landscaping that's on the site and create a buffer in between our property and the neighbor's property. So we'd probably plant the property line with some trees. But yeah, we'd like to keep that whole northwestern half of the site as open space.
Right, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joan. Gino, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, I was going to ask the same thing Joan did, and I'm satisfied with the answers. I'm all set.
All right, thank you. Eric, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
A couple small ones. Just following up with what Joan was saying, is that would distribution be limited to the valley? Are you looking to distribute through Colorado? A little bit of growth potential down the road? What's the plan with distribution?
Yeah, well, Matt's plan at this point is the state of Colorado. So he's looking definitely in the valley, looking for partners in restaurants and bars in the valley, and then looking beyond that, you know, in the state, serving the mountain towns, serving Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo. That's his current business plan that I've seen. It's just Colorado focused.
I like it. And then to Joan's point about the farm to bottle festivals, we got a great new park in downtown. You can host that in instead of on site.
Yeah,
Last
perfect.
question, and Luke, you might not know this. Is the facility size about similar to the?
Eric, you cut off.
Lost you, Eric. Eric, could you repeat your question? We lost you.
I think we lost Eric's volume altogether there.
Sorry, I'm back now. Is that
Okay,
better?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, internet for a second. The question was, is the distillery facility similar size, or I guess what's the comparison to the marijuana operation just down the street?
Yeah, you know, I'm not too familiar with that project. If you see the site plan, I have a conceptual site plan in that packet.
Yeah,
It's, you know, we're imagining that the distillery building itself is going to be around 5,000 square feet, which is pretty close to the largest structure that's currently on the site. The building will have to be a little bit taller. We need about a 20-foot clear span inside for the distillery column. So we'll probably have a high bay space with some lower functions, lower program on the sides for utilities and lab space, the bottling room, that type of thing. But it's going to be pretty similar in size and scale to what's on the property. You know, we have looked at the buildings there, and most everything is not salvageable. We might be able to salvage some materials, but for the most part, we're looking at replacing what's there with similarly sized structures, and definitely making things look a lot nicer. Lots of better landscaping and buildings as well.
Cool.
In terms of your comparison request, the marijuana facility was over 30,000 square foot.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
But that's what I remember.
No, it's
And
going
then
to be
the
way
last
smaller
selfish
than that.
question: winter wheat? Are you making rye?
Sorry, what was that question?
I said, with winter wheat, are you making rye? What's the spirits of choice?
Oh, the spirits, yeah. So Matt is looking at his main product's going to be vodka, probably vodka and gin, and then he might do some small batch whiskey as well.
Cool. Thank you. That's all I had.
All right, thank you, Eric. Rob, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
Just a quickies. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Something small batch broke up there at the end.
Small batch whiskey.
Whiskey, okay. And I didn't catch the last name of the applicant, Matt.
Luke, what's Matt's last name? Can you hear us?
Hey, Luke, did we lose you?
I think we lost Luke. Let me take a look here real quick. It's under an LLC. It's Emma Fields LLC. I will continue to look to see if I can get the last name before we sign off here.
Okay, don't worry about it. And then, so Fields, that was my other question. Emma Fields, LLC?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. My biggest concern is with the access, but it sounds like that's being addressed.
Okay, Rob, thank you.
I'm
done?
correct on that, right? The access permit to 82 access is being addressed?
Well, what we've included in the draft letter is that the applicant needs to work with CDOT to determine if an access permit is required. And then we've got some language in the draft letter that requires the applicant to stay with their representations that they wouldn't be increasing traffic on the site.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay.
All right, Tracy, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
Nope.
All righty. Bernie, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
No, I really don't.
All righty, thank you, Bernie. So Susan, this is not a public hearing, am I correct?
That's correct. And
Okay,
no
so we
one
don't have
has called or text, I'm trying to text him to see if he wants to call back, because, for some reason, his line's still showing, but I seem to have lost sound.
Okay, well, while we're waiting, I don't really have any questions other than what has already been asked. My main one was about exactly what they were going to be distilling, and it looks like it's going to be some grain-based spirit of an undetermined amount. Let's, while we're waiting for the applicant, if we'll go back to the top and do commissioner comments, if you guys wish to make a comment about this application or add any language to the referral letter, and I'll start with Joan again.
Cannot be completed as dialed.
Yeah, I have a question about that large area in the back being under winter wheat, which is a winter cover crop. Besides landscaping, I think we should look at that.
Sorry, just hold there for a second, sorry.
Expanding into in that back area, and I'm just a little concerned about that.
I'm sorry, Joan, can you please repeat your question? We have the applicant back on the phone, so.
Okay,
sorry.
the back area, which is almost half the space of the land, winter wheat is a cover crop for the winter. I just want to make sure we have some details what the second step may be for that back area, since it is such a prime, big open space.
Yeah, that's a good question. We will definitely address that at the Pitkin County meeting. We can talk to our landscape architect and
You can
get
start
some more
cooking
details
your steak.
on what could be
I'm
a
on
good
mute, so.
secondary strategy back there.
I'm sorry, Tracy, you're not on mute, but you can invite us over for steak.
Sorry, I am now.
Okay, Joan, so did that answer your questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just need to pay attention to what the future is for the development of that back area.
All right.
Yeah,
thank
definitely.
you.
We want it to look good, so we'll
Gino, do you have any
definitely address that.
questions of the applicant or staff?
No, not at all. I'm comfortable.
Okay, thank you. Tracy, do you have any questions of the applicant or staff?
Nope, I'm good.
All righty, thank you. Eric, questions?
No questions. We've done the questions. I'll just say that I appreciate the application. I appreciate the fact that Pitkin County is willing to work with us as per our previous meeting and working through the master plan. And I did really appreciate the applicant's details as far as the sustainability efforts. I think that's a nice, appealing part of this project.
All righty. Thank you. Rob, do you have any comments to make about this application?
I do not.
Okay. Bernie, do you have any comments to make about this? And any additions to the letter?
No, I have no comments, and I do not have any questions. I'm good with it.
All right. Okay, it's up to me. I have one little comment. It just seems that basalt has become sort of a receptacle for the wages of sin, and we seem to have a lot of, weed and liquor production facilities, which is fine. It's all a clean, healthy business, but it is interesting nonetheless. I don't have anything to add into the letter. The referral letter is fine by my estimation. And so I would like to ask if we could get a motion to approve the referral letter as written.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Eric is our first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Who is the second? I didn't see it because we're.
Joni.
Joni? Okay, we have a first. We have a second. Susan, do you want to call a roll call vote to approve the referral letter?
Okay, Bill Marin,
Yes.
Joan Keefe,
Yes.
Gino Rossetti,
Yes.
Eric Volzek,
Yes.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Aye.
Rob Levitt,
Yes.
motion carried.
All righty. Thank you all very much. Thank you to the applicant. We are moving on to commissioner comments and staff updates.
Okay, I'm
Let's
gonna
do
close
staff
off with
updates.
you, Luke, if that's okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
bet, bye. In terms of updates, we actually have quite a bit of construction going on, and we are really busy in the planning department. The Aspen Skiing Company has been operating under a foundation permit. We gave them a full building permit yesterday. Block 11, that's where the townhomes are on the south side of the block. They're operating under a foundation permit on the north side and getting ready for a full building permit. Stedman Clinic has been having discussions with the town of Basalt about their application, and they're thinking they're gonna submit it when, James?
Did we lose everybody?
No, everybody's here, we just lost the picture. We still have the sound, but go ahead.
Stedman Clinic, they're looking to submit their site plan review application soon, and then they're looking to go into building permit in June.
So in Eagle County, we have different regulations dealing with how the two counties are dealing with COVID. So Eagle County construction has been able to resume. Companies have to have a protocol plan on how to deal with the safety measures. On Picken County,
I'm not sure we have anybody.
did we lose everybody?
We lost everybody.
No?
No,
No,
still
we're
here.
all here.
They're here, they just lost the Zoom connection for some reason. But in Picken County, you probably read in the paper that they're getting ready to loosen the regulations that were prohibiting construction, and everybody had to be shut down in Picken County on April 1st. We've been working hard with a group with Picken County and the health department about how the regulations will be loosened up. So on Thursday, the plan is that contractors will be able to submit site safety plans starting that day. And the earliest that they could resume construction in Picken County would be Monday, April 27th. And the Picken County Health Department has weighed in heavily regarding the rules and regulations, and so they're pretty restrictive in terms of the protocol that has to be in place in order to put construction back online. On Friday, there's another meeting. Picken County's also having discussions about how do they allow other non-essential businesses to be open, and so those conversations will start later this week. So In the Pitkin County portion of Basalt, we've had, construction.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
So that's really kind of the update of, can the rest of the group, can you guys hear me?
So it's not really private.
Oh, Susan's back.
Okay. Well,
There you are.
There you are.
You're right, Susan, from the top.
Yes, Susan.
Yes, sir, all
You,
over
you
again.
need more of this.
We lost internet over here too, so maybe it's all phone connected.
okay. Well, it was just updates on all the different projects that we have. So did everybody get the idea that we're pretty busy?
Yes, we got that. We did get that.
Okay. So that's all I have really for the updates.
So are we gonna be back on schedule every 2 weeks now with a meeting like this?
Ye-
So are we gonna be back on schedule every 2 weeks now with a meeting like this?
Yes, until we lift COVID. One of the things that we probably should have put it on the public record, but we're having applicants that want to proceed sign that they want to go through the process remotely and electronically like this, so that we kind of protect the public process. But yes, we have, every applicant that we have so far has indicated that they want to continue at least through the P&Z level of, and hopefully, hopefully in another month, we'll be able to resume with having the meetings in person. But we have scheduled Grassroots to continue filming. We thought we would allow that option, so even if we can come in and we can mix it. So there's a couple of you that had indicated previously that during COVID you didn't want to come into town hall. That's when we were still having that option. So we may have some meetings where some of the P&Z members are at home and some of them can come into the town hall. And likewise with the public, that there'll be an opportunity for the public to participate if they want to without coming into town hall. And you can drop off your water bill and your the sanitary sewer bills. You can, the town hall front area is open, but they do lock it at 5 o'clock. So if you want to drop off your water payment, you can do that. That's my public service announcement of the day.
All right, thank you, Susan. Susan, also I have a question for you. Has the election been certified and the council seated or not?
The election has been certified. If you want the exact votes, I can send them to you. But the council will be sworn in on Tuesday. And the last I heard, they hadn't really worked out how they were going to swear the mayor and the council in yet. How they were going to exactly do the mechanics of that. So that'll be next Tuesday's meeting will be the change, so that we can conclude so can we have a motion maybe in a second? Bill, could you go ahead and do that?
Okay, we have a first from Eric. Do we have a second?
Second.
Tracy, second. Susan, whenever you're ready, let's do the roll call vote.
Okay, Bill Marin,
Yes.
Gino Rossetti, Eric Volzek,
Yes. Yes.
Tracy Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Grauer,
Aye.
Rob Levitt.
Yes.
And I think I missed actually hearing someone. Did you hear that, James, at all? Okay, so the motion
Yeah,
passed.
you missed me. Pick me.
Okay, Joan Key,
Yes.
Yes, me.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes. Gino.
you know.
So we're adjourned.
okay.
Good
Yes.
night, all.
When's
Night.
the next meeting?
Thanks.
When is the next meeting?
Thank you all very much.
It
Susan,
will
before-
be, I think it's May 5th. It's that first Tuesday in May.
Okay. Thank you.
Susan, I will come
Bye,
down.
everyone.
Bye,
I wish
John.
you all stay safe and healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come down tomorrow afternoon to sign those documents. Will you be there?
Yes.
Okay, I will see you then.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.
Ciao.
Bye.
Goodbye.